Hello everybody. In this video we're going to go over a basic overview of parts of the Soundtrap interface that you're going to use regularly. This is just going to be a basic surface level look at different parts of the interface. So first off, I'm going to zoom in here. Am I going to zoom in here? Let's find out. There we go. Down here you have the player controls. This is for actually playing the music that you've got going on up here. So this is a play button. Click it. Oh, sorry, let me scroll that back. You click the play button. It starts playing some of the music you've got in the timeline. Click it again to stop it from playing. Here you've got your fast forward key and your back key. I'll pull this down a little bit. Fast forward moves the playhead forward. Rewind is what this one is. Makes it go backwards. And this key here brings it back to the start. So let's say you've been playing it for a while and you wanted to stop and then go back to the start and click that. And by the way, when you're seeing this green circle around my cursor, that's showing that I've done a left click, which is most of the clicking you'll do. There is some right clicking, but not very much. Okay, over here you have the key change, so you can change the key. It automatically picks a key based on whatever the first piece of music is that you put in, and then all the other loops that you put in will adjust to the key. So you've heard it in E minor, sounds like that. What if I change it to, or I'm sorry, there's E flat minor. What if I change it down to E or D flat minor? Click OK to adjust, or rather adjust to adjust. And now it's different. Now it's in a different key. Okay, we'll go ahead and put it back to... No, that wasn't what I wanted. Put it back to E flat minor. Okay, here's the tempo change. You can increase it or decrease it, and you'll hear this metronome. So it's slowing down. You can hear that clicking, slowing down. And that's how you can adjust the overall tempo of your song. So let's put it at 95. Adjust. You'll see how everything in the space got much longer because the tempo is slower. So you can hear how that's much slower now. You can also go faster. And one of the things you can do is click above. You can click repeatedly to set the tempo. So that was 179. So that's quite fast. Let's go a little slower. 125. Hit adjust again. I originally started at 120, so we'll go back to that. Okay. And this one is the metronome. That's that click sound. You can adjust what it does. You can have it be a click sound, a tick sound. You can kind of hear that tick in there. And that's just going to keep going at the set tempo whenever you're playing your music. It can be a hi-hat. Or a clave. 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 That's that word, not clave. Here, I'll go out here so you can hear it better. No, that's not right. I've got some drums going on here. I'll go out here. So that can be used to help you when you're recording. And we'll get to recording stuff in a different video. Anyhow, so over here we got a whole bunch of stuff. I've dragged in a bunch of loops. We got some sound loops that show up as a waveform. You got some drum loops, some synth loops. You see here it says synth, and these are placed as individual notes. And here you can do various things to adjust how you're hearing them. So we can adjust the volume to make that much louder or much quieter. If I really want those cymbals and claps to come in, I can turn them up, or I can dial them way back. And another useful thing is if you want to hear just one pattern all on its own, you click the headphones, which is the solo. So you hear them solo, all on their own. So that's going, and then when these other ones come in, we don't hear them. And that's good if you just want to focus on how one instrument in particular sounds. If you want to mute something, it does the opposite of solo. It plays everything else, but not this one. And you can mute multiple tracks. So I'm listening to this, say, I want to get rid of those drums. I want to bring back these drums. So you can play with the different combinations of your loops. And this one is show automation. That's more of an advanced feature. We'll get into that some other time. Okay, show instrument is very useful for things like, let's say we got this synth here. It works, well, it works on everything. I'll show you a couple examples. I'm going to zoom out a little bit to give us some more room. Okay, so show instruments. Here we can see the piano roll, which is something we'll discuss in a different video of how to arrange your own musical loops on the piano roll. But here we're going to click on instrument, and this is where you can hear what different notes sound like. And you can also adjust different aspects of how the instrument sounds. So say you want to change it some. I'm going to solo this. We're going to adjust some things. Adjust the fuzz. That really changed it. How about resonance? It makes it much sharper. Reverb. It's more of that echoey, like you're in a big long hallway or a large room. Pan will set it to either the left or the right channel. Chaos. I don't know what chaos does. Ooh. Seems like going in either direction with that really does something interesting. So each of these different synth instruments is going to have different set of controls that you can play with to dial the sound in just how you like it. Alright. We're going to move on to the top of the work area here. Let me zoom in. Ooh, I have to click on the window first before we can zoom in. We're going to get rid of that instrument panel for now. If you're seeing this and you want to get rid of it, you can either click the X here, or you can click Hide Instrument. So this is the playhead. Wherever this is, when you press play, and play, you can also press the space bar. Is where it'll start playing from. So you can drag this around to start it at different points in your music. So you don't have to start from the beginning every time. You can start from wherever you want. You can skip around. Those drums are loud, aren't they? Let's tune those down. But yeah, you can skip around with the playhead like that. Yeah. The next thing is the, what do they call this? The cycle mode. So this is the cycle bar. And we have to turn cycle mode on. And what this does is it allows you to repeat just a specific section of your track. So say you're working on one section in particular, and you don't want to have to keep moving the playhead back to where you want to start. You want it to just automatically loop back. Like, say I want to hear this section in particular. Now that I have cycle mode on with this button, I can just press space, and it'll play this. Let's say it's played it and played it, and it's almost to the end. And there it went back to the beginning. And you can shorten this if you want. I just want to hear this section over and over again. No problem. So that's cycle mode. And when we get into making our own drum beats, that is going to prove very effective, because let's say I only want to hear this section of drums that I made myself. You can see they look different than some of the other sections of drums. I made these ones. Oh, sorry. Let me move you up a little bit. These drums down here. If we have cycle mode on, then I can listen to just those drums over and over again. So I think you get the idea, but when we get to the end of it, it would loop back. Okay, and then it's easy to forget that cycle mode is on, and you're like, why will it only play stuff? You try to click over here, and it's not working. You try to click over here, it's not working. Make sure that cycle mode is turned off if you want to listen to your whole song. Now I can click anywhere again. If you need to move this, you can click in the middle, hold and drag, move it around. If you need to widen it, you can adjust the end of it by mousing over until you see these arrows with the lines in the middle. Mouse over to the other side. It's very intuitive. Okay, what is next? The magnet. That'd be a good one to get into. So this is snap to grid. Now, one thing you'll notice is that when you have a loop and you're clicking and dragging to move it around, it snaps to the grid that's there, right? If you uncheck snap to grid, then it will drag around smoothly. Now, this can be helpful in some cases where you want to place something, somewhere in between two lines. But it can also be not so helpful, because let's say I do this and drag my drums just slightly off beat. You remember what these sound like. Now let's listen again. Oh, I can't even listen to that. That's off beat because we didn't have snap to grid on. But I can put snap to grid back on, and look at that. It goes right back into place. Now we're good again. So snap to grid is a very helpful thing. When in doubt, leave it on. Okay. This gear symbol over here allows you to adjust the grid size. Let's put that on 1/4. I need to look into exactly how we can make use of that. That one I'm not so sure about, because it doesn't seem to make a difference right now. We will keep exploring that one in the future. Okay, one thing to look at up top is some of your options. You've got File, and this is to open a new or start a new project, open a recent project. I've got a couple untitled ones. I should definitely put names on these so I know what's what. Previous versions, that doesn't work in the free version of Soundtrap, so we don't need to worry about that. And then there's save and save as. This works just like anything else you've done on a computer. You save your file. There's also a save button right there. It dings when it's done. Exporting. This is when you're finished with your mix and you want to save it as a file, either an MP3 or a WAV file. You can do that, and then you can do anything else with it. So you could upload it to some site, or you can send it to your friend, or anything like that. Um, settings you don't really need to do anything with at all. Everything in here should just stay exactly as it is. And tutorials, well, you're watching a tutorial right now, so you don't need this, obviously. There are some tutorials in here, but there are less than there used to be, which is why I'm making tutorials now. Okay. Now over here is, oh, one of the things I'd like to show you first before we get into this is there are zoom in and out buttons. These will zoom, they don't zoom up and down, they zoom side to side, as you've seen. So as your song gets longer, let's say you started and everything was this size, or even this size, but your song is getting longer now and you're tired of having to scroll back and forth all the time, you can zoom out and give yourself more room to work. Or let's say there's one area in particular that you want to spend a lot of time on, really detailed work, then you can zoom in and just see that. So this is a really handy tool. This is different from zooming your browser in and out like I've been doing, like this. That makes everything bigger or smaller. Okay, the last thing I think we're going to go over about the basics of the interface is the loops. Now this is, we're going to do a video just on this one, but this is where you can find basically most of the material that you're going to be using. So I'm interrupting myself here. How this works is, say there's something you want, we've got all these different categories here. I had clicked synth before, and then you can scroll through here and try different sounds. And they'll load and play automatically when you click on them. And what's really nice is you can set your music going, and then you can try and click one of these and hear what it sounds like with your song as it's going. So that's a really handy thing to be able to do. You can preview what it sounds like without having to even place it in. But let's say I like that. I'm not sure in reality if I like that, but let's say I did. Sometimes, okay, what I'm doing, let me explain. Let me try that again, just so I have a better explanation. What I've done is I am clicking and dragging it in, and then when you see a gray box, that's somewhere where you can place it. Some places will say wrong track type if you've already got something in there. So just don't put it there. Put it somewhere where you can put it. Okay, so I've placed it. And there it is in my song. Okay. And then if you want to look for something else, just click X on that. We'll get into this more in a different video. But I think that covers the basics for now. The last thing, I suppose, if we zoom out a little bit, you can see this better, is this section here. This is one of the first things you'll see. So these are kind of the most common shortcuts that you'll use. So they put them in these boxes here. You can click browse the loops. So say that wasn't selected, you click browse the loops. Patterns Beat Maker is something we will do a separate video on. This is how you can compose your own drum tracks. In case you're not a fan of the ones that are available in the loops, you can customize your own. And play the synth, which you've seen before. This is to play the instruments like this. You can also use your keyboard here. So that's that. Let's see, there were others, but no, here, let's get rid of these. We've also got to add new track, and then this gives you a bunch of options. Import file, it's if you had a sound file that you wanted to add to your track or to your mix, you could. And then invite a friend, which is and we'll probably get into collaboration at some point. We can add other people just by their names or their emails. Alright, that's the basics of the interface. Hope this is helpful.